Tone has done it again. Are you kidding me? Look at this beautiful building.
Oh my God, man. Good to see you.
You're always a pleasure. So 5,000 square feet to 40,000 square feet, and look at these. How are your eyes?
I need sunglasses.
This is so clean.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean.
Oh yeah?
Really good.
Oh, I like it.
Really
I like
good.
it.
Yeah.
Well, you have done some amazing things. This is the 40-year anniversary, VAC Motorsports. The first thing I want to ask you, I know the audience loves to hear about the humble brags, why we're doing things, why your motto is quality first. So let's start there. Why BMW? Why quality first? What have we been doing this whole time for, Tony?
Well, first, you know I'm bad about talking about myself, right? I'm really bad.
But I'm going to beg you today, for our audience's sake that are watching, please, can we today?
I'm going to do my best, okay?
Thank you.
I'm going to do my best. So, why BMW? It started out from early childhood. In 6th grade, we had printing class and typesetting, and then they asked us to look through magazines. And as we flipped through the pages, they told us to pick the ad that we liked, and I got to the ultimate driving machine, BMW, and back then it was the BMW 2002. So that like etched an image in my brain. When I went back home to visit family, my uncles were BMW specialists. A couple of my uncles had 2800s and 3000 Bavarias and stuff like that. And my uncle Tony had a repair shop that was BMW specialty. So, that's really from the early days. And I learned how to drive on a BMW 2002. But when I started the business, although I was a mechanic, I started out as Verna's Auto Body.
I remember that actually.
Yeah, I bought it from Lou Verna. And then, so it started as Verna's Auto Body. We built some show winners, a Porsche. I was doing work for a Porsche group. And, just an old, like we restored a Chevy for somebody, a 57 Chevy that went to Ford shows and won all Ford shows with a Chevy. That's how nice that resto was.
Wow.
But I get bored. I like challenges, man.
Yes, you do.
I like the hunt.
Yes, you do.
and so without that, I have no incentive to get up. So I always need the challenge. I got bored, said, okay, I can't show up and just sand body work and like spray all day long. That stuff is not for me. So I continued to do that, but added service again, and then we started focusing on BMW. And then after that, the marketing side started to work, and I'm like, how stupid is it to be called Verna's Auto Body, but you do service? How are people going to know you do service? Well, let's change it to Verna's Auto Clinic. All right, so Verna's Auto Clinic, you can talk, we do everything. So we were a bumper-to-bumper service at Verna's Auto Clinic. But then the racing kicked in, started building race cars. Then you go racing, and now your decal says Verna's Auto Clinic. I'm like, that's even more dumb.
What does that even mean to the majority of people,
It's like even more dumb. So I looked in the mirror, and I'm like, all right, acronym time. Yeah. We had gotten into the acronym season, right? Everything was abbreviated, so it became VAC Motorsports. So that's how the name VAC Motorsports came about. That's how BMW came about. And that was just natural progression. So started out as a body shop, added the service, which I was actually a mechanic before a body guy. Then we got into making parts. As we were building the race cars, we needed specialty parts. Well, I started to subcontract, and I would need something, and they told me, oh yeah, 2 weeks. And 2 weeks became 2 months. 2 months became 6. I said, man, this is for the birds. So let's go out and see what we're gonna do. So did some research. At that time, the machine to have was a VF2. Got a VF2. Oh yeah, you can program easy, man. That's just, and very intuitive. And I stood at the control, and I'm like, I'm making these parts that have 150 holes. Like, I want to sit here and program that, and we got to find software. So we started looking, and that's when we found Mastercam. And then the growth just continued. So then we added lathes. Philly location was about 5,000 square feet, 4,800 square feet was that machine shop. So really, you were there and you saw it. It was like really, really tight.
It is. I mean, you almost had to sidestep sometimes. It was tight.
We had to do the side shuffle.
And here is...
Talk about side shuffle. You want to shuffle forward?
We should shuffle forward. But as we do that, and we're talking about, we're headed toward the subject, I can tell you're getting there. if we look to our left, it says quality first.
Yep.
And rumor has it that that was actually built, even though marketing had a hand in it, it was actually built by your customers when they said, well, why are you working with VAC? Well, because they care about quality first. And if I'm going 200 miles an hour down the street,
Yeah.
I tell you what, it better work. It better darn work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to build, the focus has to be quality across the board, right? So if you have quality equipment and you don't have quality tooling, the equipment's only as good as the tooling. If you have quality tooling and you don't have quality employees and quality engineers, the result basically is the sum of all. It all has to be quality to remain quality.
As we look at Grob and Mazak and Okuma and Hardinge and the investments that you've made to make sure that that quality isn't just words.
Yeah.
The young man right here is a brilliant programmer machinist. You know, you are bringing in the right people to be a part of this as well. So you're right, from top to bottom,
it's
including your shiny floor,
That's it,
and the expansion of your building.
Right.
This is what motorsports looks like.
So you're either proud of what you do and you love what you do, or the result will reflect it.
Ooh. Do you guys hear that? I'm not sure there's ever truer words that have been said, Tony, because we are oftentimes a reflection of the belief of the things that we are in ourselves, right? And that is so true. If we don't believe in our products, if we don't believe in our company, the floors will look that way. Everything about it, the maintenance of the machines, the quality of the employees,
everything has to be right.
You know, yes, and we could go on and on about that.
Yeah.
We could. But you have obviously made a statement that's resonated with me, so thank you for that. I hope it resonates with the audience as well. So as we continue, you've been doing this for quite a while.
Yep.
You said you started kind of in a different part of the industry before sliding into this industry. You're still racing cars. You still have that passion, as you just mentioned, right?
Yeah, I mean, once you're type A, you're usually always type A.
I don't think it changes too much,
doesn't
does
change.
it? No.
I mean, maybe sometimes you go to A minus, but
That's a
you know,
thing?
but it becomes A plus again.
That's a thing. Okay, so you now have a new Mazak coming, and this story is more for the audience about who VAC is. You and I have been friends for a while now. I am always honored when I get to learn from you and spend time with you. And
I appreciate it.
Your growth is something that inspires me as well. And we don't have the time to go all the way into the back, but you have a whole area back behind us where you're going to be able to do what back there for your customers as well?
Well, that area is more like of the dirty area, if you will, part of it. But further behind what you're seeing behind the bars, there's going to be the race shop. So we're going to relocate the race shop from Philadelphia to Hainsport. Mm-hmm. We have to give Hainsport, New Jersey some kudos for having us here.
Of course, yeah.
You know, it's actually a beautiful setting. And, you know, we're trying to make the shop just a continuation of the setting. And we're, like I said earlier, we're trying to make this basically a medical facility, quality automotive shop. So
like
cleanliness, you know, at some point here we're going for ISO or AS. We don't need it for what we do, but my ego needs it.
Is that what it is?
Quality needs it.
Quality
first. If you can't track what you do and you can't trace what you do, then you're not really that good. So we need to get there. We need to get to that next level. But back there, it's for race cars. It's for storage of race cars. Our parts facility is going to move from Philly to here, which will give us easily more than double the area because we resell a lot of BMW components. We resell pistons and connecting rods for companies like Aero Precision out of the UK. So any product we resell, you know, it can't get the TS endorsement unless it's quality. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, your advertising and your products, they have to be as good as you. Mm-hmm. Everything has to be at that level. Otherwise, the marketing doesn't work. Otherwise, you don't get the results you want, right?
And you're constantly testing as well. You know, we're actually here today with the Saratizit family because we are learning about new products, how to could do more, right? You honor your customers instead of just jacking up prices and saying, look, just because we're the best and we're the only ones that can do it at VAC, we're not going to send it over to you. So there are some parts over here that we can talk about and look at, and we're going to get over there in just a minute. But you are constantly innovating as well, aren't you? You're making sure that you can be respectful to the industry because you are famous in this realm. You are that company that people look toward for that. I mean, 40, again, My friends, I asked him to humble brag. Can you see his face where I give him a compliment? He's like, He won't admit it.
Thank you, Tony.
There it is. Thank you for saying it.
I appreciate it.
VAC
Thank you.
Motorsports in your world is a go-to name, right?
We've established the
standard.
standard. We've established the standard. I think realistically and humbly speaking, I think we were the first hardcore BMW performance company in this country. So that includes, from the development to the manufacturing. We have the full engine rebuilding facility, and so a lot of places do sell BMW product. But I don't think, and I've been told by others that have visited, this isn't my words, that they've seen a lot of machine shops in this country, but none of them do what we do. Like truly, if you want to use the term bumper to bumper, because we can design it, we can machine it. One of my previous marketing people, she had a saying, she said, if we can't make it, you don't need it.
I don't even know how to follow up on that one, because you're right.
Yeah.
If you don't make it, we don't. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of marketing's job, is to take something that you are
doing,
and then they'll brag a little better than you're going to do.
Right? I'm really bad at that stuff,
So let's continue walking, because we can talk about your parts that are worth bragging about. A couple of your machines over here are unique as well, which I think is worth talking about also, right? So 40 years, 5,000 to 20,000 square feet. Your love for quality, your love for BMW, you're still racing. Where does this care come from for all these years? Is there still that little Tony that was in school reading that magazine, that BMW, inside of this heart?
Coming from a Lebanese background, Lebanese family, they're very protective. So there was no way they were going to let me in a race car because it was too dangerous. So I really didn't get to fulfill that until I was into my 20s, because at that point I'm like, okay, I love you guys, but I'm doing it.
And what did they say?
Well, they just had to follow at that point.
Okay.
So I started, although I had the passion for racing, I was doing what was called driver's education, DE courses with BMW CCA and Porsche Club. So just, local events, kind of within 3, 4, 6 hour drive the car out, have an instructor, they teach you. So about 3, 4 events in, the instructor's looking at me, he's like, why am I instructing you? And I just laughed, and he's like, we're going to sign you off. You need to be an instructor. So literally, it took me like 5 events, and they signed me off as an instructor. So I instructed, but I love the competition. So just turning laps is fun, but I'm a competitive person, and so I always want to be the best I can be. I tell my people, I said, I'm not asking anything of you that I don't ask of myself, at least 2-fold or 3-fold or 10-fold. I just expect my people to give it their best. We're not always successful, but we always have to give it our best. And when I fall short, there's nothing, I set really high standards. I set really high targets. Sometimes I fall short. Often I fall short. But you know what? When you're reaching that high, chances are, even when you fall short, you've accomplished something.
It's true. What's that cliche statement about shoot for the moon, you'll land on the stars?
Yep.
It doesn't make sense, because stars are further away than the moon. So should we shoot for the stars, land on the moon? I don't know.
How about shoot for the roof and land in the 3rd floor?
Or the pool you have outside, actually, which would be fun. So we talked about quality. Would you want to go through any of these specific parts to kind of show the audience what you're making, what might be unique, something that you could point out for them?
These parts here, these billet blocks, we make billet blocks for BMW, and so these are just higher precision, more strength with the four bolt mains, and it's nice and thick aluminum. Although we're saving weight, it's really meant, drag racers, often you're going to have potential failures with engines when you're really pushing the limit. So when a piston blows up or a rod and you window the block with a standard cast iron, when that rod hits it, it just shatters it. So the block is useless. But with something this thick, you ding it, you might put a little crack in it, you can TIG weld it again, and then you could reuse your block and keep on going. So often, billet aluminum blocks are used because although they're expensive up front, you can continue to save it and use it, whereas you can't do that with a cast iron block. They do give you more strength and more stability, so whereas maybe like the BMW block for these, might be good to 800 to 1,000 horsepower. Diesel will be good up to 1,800 or 2,000 or more.
Would you consider this one of your core products, or is there one laying around that you would consider maybe your most popular product, anything like that?
So, these products are nice products. I got to tell the truth.
Well, you better do that. We're recording now. You better tell the truth.
Camera.
We're holding you under witness.
I'm on camera. I'm in trouble now.
Yeah.
I got to tell the truth. One of the biggest reasons I did that, I remember I was telling you earlier about competition. I would just hear in the grapevine occasionally, people say, we're just like VAC.
Ooh. I know your competitive nature didn't take that kindly.
So I just figured, okay, for those that are just like VAC, follow me.
Uh-huh.
And then we embarked on that, and we did those, and we'll do more. We have, other plans for that. But it was basically to elevate to the next level.
Will a real VAC please stand up?
Please stand up. Please.
There it is. Good job. Yeah, so let's continue. Any other parts you want to talk about? Because I know we're going to end this tour with one of your favorite machines, but before we slide that way.
So let me talk about something like, although we're BMW, over here you'll see some Jaguar cylinder heads. These cylinder heads are being done subcontract for a company called eTorque. John Scamenti, and they're his blocks over here as well. So John Scamenti kind of does what we do at BMW, but he does it for Jag, and he's basically trusting us to build stuff for him, from flywheels to cylinder heads. So he gets the castings made, and then we get to machine them.
Okay.
To throttle bodies and manifolds. So really, the scope of the business, although we focus on our own product, we do have some other things that we do for others. There's also a Porsche specialist up in Connecticut. He goes by E-Megatronic. We've become good friends, so we're working on some subcontract products for them. So, the scope, when you make this investment, it's not to just focus on VAC BMW parts, it's actually to potentially grow it to something more, have partners, customers that are like family, you know me. It's got to all be always like family. Yeah, there's business, but if there isn't the personal side to it, I'm not as attracted to it. And so these people trust in us, they depend on us to give them the best product, quality first. And so I'll take their ideas and basically apply everything all the mistakes I've made, I apply that knowledge to theirs. This way I can save them time and money and get them to the final product sooner. That's the approach of this business going forward.
That's some of the best information I think in this tour so far, and something I really was glad that you were able to say for us today as we humble brag. Let's head over to this machine, because as we were walking through, although the world knows the names of Grob and Mazak and Okuma and these machines, right? They can be for medical, they can be for aerospace, they can be for a lot of different industries. However, something unique that you're proud of with this machine that kind of goes into a lot of your products that helps you stand out. Would you like to kind of discuss in this section?
So to give you an idea, that first aisle we walk through is kind of our manufacturing, potentially high volume. When we rolled into this area, this comes into the engine building to where it's lower volume and more specialty. So we go from the centroid, and we've kind of lined it up. So we start doing the boring and the decking, and then after you've bored the blocks, you need to come in and you need to hone the blocks. So there's companies like Sunnin out there, but we've partnered with Rottler, and Rottler gives us that CNC control to where we can set. We have to manually change from roughing, which is diamond, to CBN for finishing. But we set the first hole to size, and then the machine will just go down and then hone all of them to size. And then if we're doing a V8, we just simply go 90 degrees and let it do the rest again for us, right? So this machine has been really, really nice to us. Rottler have been amazing to us. And so as we continue down here, we'll just go to the next station, which is cylinder heads, right? Because you do the blocks, and then we continue on to the cylinder heads. And in this area here, we have basically another machine we're very proud of, which is the Gunn. The Gunn machine does very, very wonderful work. It's the NC control again, CNC control. You have the carbide pilots, and you can see the seats cut over there, but basically we fixture the cylinder heads here. We guide into the valve guide using these carbide pilots, and then if you look close in here, it's got a single point cutter.
It does, yeah.
So we get to go in on the control. It's not powered up now, but we get to go in and draw the seat angles that we want to generate the performance that we want. In the previous iteration of the equipment we had, we'd have to buy dedicated inserts that had the preformed angles. So if we were cutting a 30, 45, 60, and if you wanted your seat to be 40 thousandths, well, you bought one that had 40 thousandths. So you had all these different inserts. Plus, I think you've machined stuff. You know that when you have full contact across a full profile, shatter's potential is much greater than when you're cutting single point. So this machine is amazing for that because we can do any shape. We can do a radius. We can do any shape. We can draw it up. We can cut it. And then over here, we get to do the resurfacing. This is, I mean, this is, so, you know, I want to talk about, you know, the rainbow.
The what?
Rainbow.
The rainbow?
Yeah.
I thought I heard you correctly. I just had to double check.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know metal. You know when you have a good finish, you should be able to see the rainbow in it.
I like to see it in the chips, too.
Look at the rainbow in that finish. Look at the reflection of light. When you look at the reflection of light at the right angle, you will see a rainbow in the light. You might have to stand farther back and look at the right at the proper angle.
I see it. Did you just pull me into a Skittles commercial?
Yeah.
You can taste the rainbow.
You can taste the rainbow.
I think that might be patented.
There might be a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. I don't know. Take a look at the seats now. So this cylinder head's gone through the process. That centroid can do blocks, but it can do CNC porting. So when you look in here, you can see all these ports have been machined from the port side to the valve side. And then it comes in and we do the seats. So you could see intake and exhaust are cut different. And then after the seats, we put it on this machine and then we cut it and we get a nice mirror finish. For the new latest technology, gaskets need a smooth finish. So that's basically like, you know, there's more this way, but you know, from here it goes to assembly and then the cylinder head assembly, then to engine assembly.
So let me ask you a question then, based on everything we just saw, especially this area here that seems to be a bit more industry centric, unique to the broader side of things. What does this process, this understanding, these years of experience, these machines that you enjoy so much, what does that allow you to do for the customer to provide them with that quality first mentality that you have hanging on a banner right there that you started this company with and allow them today to have when they're drag racing or any other kind of motorsport?
So what we continue to do is invest in the best equipment to provide the best product, but to try to do it efficiently to prevent costs from continuing to escalate. Now, costs have escalated, but over the years, we really haven't raised pricing much in relationship to a lot of other things in the marketplace. We've been able to control it by having better equipment and focusing on the quality. If we can get to the quality result sooner, we're happy and the customer is happy. We save them money and we still can make some money.
If only we could all do that, get to that quality result sooner. All right, we're gonna close out this tour. Are there any final messages you'd like to share with the audience? Maybe a website, maybe your social security number, you know? No, obviously we're not gonna do that.
I'll start with my social security number.
Yeah, is that where you're gonna start?
For those that want to contribute to the fund, 123-456-789.
You can't be that young. So, but yes, VACmotorsports.com is, I believe, is the website.
VACmotorsports.com is the website. And then social media, our social media team do a wonderful job.
You guys are active.
Most of those are like VAC Motorsports. They go by, I believe, on Instagram and Facebook, and I think even X, Twitter. And so they do a good job covering a lot of that stuff. And, you know, on occasion, I will reshare information, but I'm not as active just because there's not enough hours in the day.
That's why I got to text you. All right, one last question before we go. You got to prove this all to me, so are you willing to put me in a car with you?
Tomorrow, you're on.
You heard it here, my friends. I'm going to hop in the car. You'll probably hear me screaming, but we're going to do it anyway. Tony, you are an incredibly famous and generous person with your time, because I know that they want you in other places. So thank you for sharing your time with the audience, the MTD audience here.
Thank you.
Again, VAC Motorsports, where quality comes first.